Thanks for being here. Signing day today, early signing period, I should say, the first day of. Coach Hauk and Coach Green are with us. Coach Hauk, he's just going to start with his initial thoughts on the early signing period class, the signees so far, and then we'll open it up to questions about signing day and about the end of the season, if you'd like as well. Just raise your hand and pass the microphone around.
Are we streaming this whole deal?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's less fun that way.
That's your audience, everybody in the world.
Yes, okay. It's not just these 6 or 7. All right, yeah, a little more so. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, sometimes the sense of humor slips out. Anyway, okay. So we'll give you what you need, hopefully, and if you need more, let me know. Back to the season, just briefly and quickly. I thought we had it was just a great season from the win at Washington to the very last play in Virginia, coast to coast. A lot of great stuff. I'm excited that we're back to competing for it every year now. I think that can certainly be the expectation and is I think both internally and externally for our team. At the end, we just weren't healthy enough. We didn't have enough in the tank to to complete the job. So that's what that is. Recruiting, I think the guys we signed today all have great potential. I think they're all great kids. I'm excited to bring them into our culture here and see what becomes of them. We're in essence, we're excited about them. So with that, go for it.
Bobby, this time last year when we were talking about this, we were all via Zoom and talking about how recruiting classes for the next few years are going to kind of be affected by, the COVID year and all that. So biggest things you kind of saw through this recent recruiting cycle now that you're about to be in person, all those kind of things.
Yeah. There's a real numbers crunch. Some of it's self-imposed a year ago. Now we're back to our number. The senior class that got the extra senior year, they didn't count in our number constraints this year, so we didn't get those back today. So there's some around the country. I think there's a lot of different factors going into this. The additional year adds to the numbers problem. The one-time transfer deal is crazy, to say the least. And I don't know. You're going to have to. That's why I got Justin here. I mean, he with some help. I mean, he's the accountant on all this. You have to be a salary cap guy.
Right, and Justin, just kind of your perspective now, kind of working through the pandemic and recruiting and those numbers and all that. What's kind of the biggest things that stands out to you so far as you guys hit signing day this year?
Well, there's a added class to the class that you recruit, and what I mean by that is the transfer portal. That is something that is different. That is something that's out of control. We looked yesterday, and there were 6,000 kids in there. So
it's a lot of film.
So being able to man high school kids, being able to man the portal, being able to man junior college kids is going to become a full-time job. Needless to say about coaching.
Well, on that note, Justin, I mean, so much of this is out of your guys' control. So how do you go about embracing it, even if it's not necessarily the way that you wish that it was going?
Well, I think we've learned to, just like, where you put your money, you want to be diverse in how you recruit. So you've got to have a strong hand in what's going to continue to feed you, which would be high school kids. And then you've got to have your hand in the junior college and portal area.
Hey, Coach Jack, you mentioned these guys have potential. I know you've always been great at developing players. So when you're identifying guys, obviously you want to identify the potential, but how much of it is just analyzing personalities and analyzing guys that will buy into a program and develop down the road?
Well, it's a good question, and it's all part of the discussion. When we when we recruit guys, we give them we sell them on the university and the football program and the city and the state, which is part of the deal, and the other part is what you're going to get while you're here. So they understand they're going to get coached hard. They're going to be demanded of to do things right. They're going to be provided structure to a high degree on a daily basis. And then they're going to be well-rounded, well-developed young men when they leave, ready to go be successful in whatever that is. So that's our sales pitch too. And that we're talking to mom and dad a lot when we're saying that, because the kids want to know how many pairs of shoes they get.
Coach, Montana, local kids, you guys got 10 kids here. What does that say for the coaching here in Montana, as well as the kids that are from small rural communities? Maybe for you too, Justin. What does this say for the caliber of kids coming out of the state of Montana?
Well, we've always emphasized starting our recruiting here in Montana. We have extremely high regard for the coaches in the state, per your question. Got a lot of friends and family members that are in that fraternity, including my dad and my uncle and all kinds of, close people. So we like who these kids are coming out of these small towns or some of the bigger towns. I mean, they're in real big towns in Montana. So we think they have the right mettle about them and have a chance to be successful.
I'd say as far as the Montana kids, you're recruiting a young man who's been wanting to go to Montana since he was knee-high. He wanted to be here, and when he got the opportunity to be here, he did everything he could to be here. No one may know him outside the parameters of the state, but they become household names quickly because they love this place. They've been wanting to come to this place, and here they are to show that. And that's worth recruiting. We got a lot of tough guys and guys for that. There's a lot of things we don't deal with in Montana that we have to deal with in the state, that we don't have to deal with in the state. We don't recruit Montana kids for the most part off of Twitter. They don't have it. They don't care for it. It doesn't matter. Some guys only have cell service when they're on campus at their school. So you're recruiting a guy who there's the things that are important to him are just different, and that's a good thing for us, and that shows up on our team.
Bobby, just what's your philosophy on balancing recruiting from high school, balancing that with recruiting from the transfer portal?
Well, we try to balance our classes out. I mean, this is, as Kyle's question, you got to adapt your philosophy to what's going on right now. I mean, we have, what's the number in our freshman class? It's 58. Yeah. So we don't need more freshmen. It's different. Normally, I'd say, my philosophy, Frank, normally would be we're going to take all freshmen, and then if we have attrition to injury or whatever, we'll fill in. But right now we've got 55 freshmen. We don't need to get younger.
How much emphasis do you put at the end of the season on having to re-recruit your own guys to come back and not enter the portal themselves?
Zero emphasis. Recruited them once, don't need to recruit them again. If you don't love this team and this program, get out would be the more succinct way of saying that.
This might be, I'm not sure who this is better for, but this is the first.
Probably not me. That leaves you.
Well, this is the first recruiting class you signed where name, image, and likeness is a thing. So how much does that just play into recruiting or affect the recruiting process at all?
Want me to take it?
I mean, sure.
Or you can.
I don't know. We don't know. We don't really deal with it. It's not we can't as coaches actually do anything to promote that. So I don't know. How creative is a kid willing to be to get his name, image, and likeness out? Yeah, I get it. It's in some towns and some areas. It's easy, but we are in Montana, and you have to have some creativity, I would imagine, to do that.
The other thing, Frank, in some places they're being promised that there are no contracts or anything like that. So is that real? I don't know. But part of it's there's a lot of things get thrown around in recruiting, and add that to the list in this day and age. We don't participate.
To kind of narrow in and down on one of the players, Justin, is obviously running back was kind of one of these positions that got dinged up this year. Depth was tested, all that. And, you look at Eli Gilman, both his film and his stats kind of pop out right now. So, as a running backs coach, what do you like about him? And, what does he kind of bring to this team that's kind of looking to, next year hopefully be not as challenging as this year was?
Well, I like him because he's like a Montana kid. When he came here to camp and he decided to come to Montana, he shut his recruiting down. The film you saw was his junior film. He shut it down, and he didn't take calls, and he told people no. And when people tried to call him, he was, no, I'm going to Montana. And was just as easy to recruit for a guy who wanted to be here, like one of our in-state guys. And he'll come in here and do exactly what we think he is when he gets his opportunity.
Justin, I'm wondering, with the addition of the early signing period, what challenges does that bring for you and your staff, and how does that kind of change the way that you go about your process, the way it used to be?
I think we still like it. I would say that we got the guys we're excited about, and they're signed and they're with us, and it's a done deal. With the playoffs happening and us not being able to bring guys in, it's great because, again, we got the guys we wanted, and they're going to come on their official visits after they've already signed. Now, all these guys on this list have been here before. They've been to games. They know what it's like. It's
Camp.
Kind of been to camp. It's going to be icing on the cake for them. I don't think we have a guy that didn't come to camp on this list.
We don't.
So we're 100%. You come to camp, you have a shot.
And then, Bobby, just to follow up on that, because I know Sam's an early enrollee, and since the NCAA put that in a couple of years ago, how much of a help do you think that is for guys who can get in and kind of get in winter workout and start to learn the system as it goes? Do you find that's a big help as a coach?
Yeah, you've been able to do that forever. As long as you were done with high school and had your courses and your required academic work done, you can do that. I'm not into it. I think they should go enjoy their senior year. I think they should play basketball and run track and go to the prom and do all that stuff. Summer will be here soon enough, and they're all in a big hurry. So I try to advise them like I would my own kids, which is to do that. Sometimes there are extenuating circumstances, which is Sam's case. So that makes sense for him. That's the first time I think we've done it, and we're not going to major in that. Then, you look at what happens across the country now with the way things are. You'll have some quarterback going to, I don't know, I'll pick a name out of the hat, which got me in trouble after which made people mad after the Washington game. But you'll have some quarterback go to USC, enroll early at the first of the year, and then be mad after spring ball and transfer before they even play a game. So that should become less popular rather than more, I would think, at this point.
Bobby, almost every guy on this list has a pretty apparent connection to the program, whether it's brothers or your dad's the trainer. I mean, just that element of things. What do you like about that in recruiting?
Well, certain things we like about it. We really like the fact that we know these kids. We know them inside and out. We know everything about them. A lot of them we've known since they were young. That's a real positive. So you have very little surprise on who's walking in the door. That'll be great online for you. But the other side of it is you have to be sure that they understand what they're getting into. It's different being immersed with this group every day of the week throughout the calendar year than it is when you come to every home game and get to have fun.
I know Helena High has produced good players over the years always, but it seems like since Scott Evans took over, a lot of really good players coming out of Helena 3 on this list. So what have you thought of the job that he's done getting guys college ready?
Well, Tony Arnson before Coach Evans, those guys have done a great job. Had a lot of Helena guys through this program. They've done to a man, for the most part. They've been a credit to the football team here and to Montana, and that's the same with these kids. They're all great kids. They're all great, and they come out of a good A to Z sound high school football program. I mean, I like the fact that Coach has sent 2 of his own children to us. I hope that says something. One was here, and he sent the other one.
Sorry, I guess some construction noise downstairs. Almost as good as the volleyball team when they have the music going after the 1 game.
Hey, it's good we're building something, whatever it is.
Coach,
Maybe
just
some
to
shelves in my office, I don't know.
touch on like the transfer portal. When you see over 6,000 kids in there, if you see a kid that's in the transfer portal, what would be your biggest pitch to him to maybe not think the grass is greener on the other side? Because sometimes when you recruit kids, you want them to stay, and I have a feeling not a lot of guys transfer from here. So what would be your pitch to kind of?
Well, what are you getting out of this program? What's it mean? I mean, this I've maintained for many years that this is as good a place as there is in the country to be a college football player. Frank brought up the name, image, and likeness stuff, some of the cost attendance things. I mean, there's less salary here than some places, but the intrinsic value and the long-term value to playing in this program are going to pay dividends to these guys forever. And, we were talking about all the kids in the transfer portal. I mean, I heard it said today, hey, they go from here to there to the next place. They got to figure out the mirror is traveling with them. Usually it's not the place. It's the guy that's looking back at them that's keeping them from getting what they want. Right now I don't think it's good for kids. I don't think it's good for programs. I don't think it's good for life lessons. I don't think it's good for graduation rates. I think school's been removed from the equation in terms of its import. I think there's some ways we could potentially fix that, which is probably another discussion, not for today, because it'll take a little time. But, we have open free agency in college football right now.
And this might be for both of you, last one. It might be the $1 million question, but when you look at the transfer portal, how do you make sure, I guess, the guy's not going to get all squirrely if he's not getting the playing time he thinks that he's going to get in transfers?
Well, I mean, I'll let you go after it. One thing, it is a one-time transfer rule, so you have one shot at it. Then you have to graduate.
We're vetting those guys too. I mean, we're trying to find the best of what will fit here at Montana to go be successful. We're not looking at the transfer portal to fill spots. We're looking at the transfer portal for guys that we think are going to start for us, and that would be the kind of the plug. Now everybody's got to earn their opportunity and earn their spot to play, but they get vetted just like our high school guys do, and probably even harder because they've been to college and understand what it's about.
Kind of goes back to the earlier question about the ties to people. We have to have a direct conduit to a guy.
For both you guys, but we'll start with Bobby. The changes within recruiting, both high school, transfer portal, all that, has it, of like the last 5 years, been the most it's changed, or the most rapidly it's changed, as opposed to, 10, 15 years ago when it was high school, JUCO? Have you just noticed it like just rapidly change and evolve?
Are you referring to the 4-4 transfer stuff, or
just the landscape of recruiting, whether that be high schools, transfer portal, JUCO? Like just I feel like the landscape maybe has rapidly changed or altered. Like, is that your perspective?
That's not really recruiting to me is recruiting. It's about relationships and getting the right guys to fit what you want and getting them into a good situation for them. So I don't think it's changed that much. I mean, there's different like now I can sit at my desk and click a button and get film on any kid in the world for the most part. I'm used to have to wait for a coach to send me a videotape. So, I mean, that's changed. You have more access to more guys, but the basics of recruiting is relationships and getting the right guys into your program. So it's not just the perception is recruiting is selling someone on your program. That's part of it. But the real part is the evaluation, getting the right guys. And those who evaluate the best have the best chance to win. Now, the open free agency, that's changing things. So, but that's to come.
Yeah, that's, I mean, there's not much more to be said there. You've got to get the right guys no matter what you do, no matter what the avenues or how you get them. You know, guys in the portal for a reason. The question is what, and what extenuating circumstances is it? And are we okay with bringing that to our culture? And that's junior college, that's high school kids, that we have to make sure that we're vetting that process.
And I'd say this to you, Kyle, and I know I'm getting windy, but there's 12 guys on this list. The kids that were viable for this year's class at this time last year that number is probably 5,000 down to 12. And I'd ask Justin, what's the number out of kids that want to walk on here next fall? How long's that line?
1,000. I can find 1,000 names for you. I have 1,000 emails in the last 3 days.
Well, we'll see in 2-3 years if we did worth a darn or not.
Justin, with that in mind, obviously you have the list of 12 here. You have all the kids that, you know, COVID has kind of backed them up. They're taking red shirts, whatnot. Do you anticipate at this point adding that many kids for the late signing window as well? What does that process kind of look like now for you guys?
Well, our numbers are numbers, so we can't over get our number, and with having young freshmen, you know, we can't go past our number. So I don't think we can take 12 more guys. That's way over what we have. We had a huge class, not a huge class. We have the 2 last classes made us one big huge class, to where that's going to put some brakes on some things.
Do one more.
Bobby, you said you guys already had a bunch of freshmen. Do you foresee signing any other freshmen in this signing class? And then are there any areas in particular in the portal you guys are looking at recruiting?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that right now. It's up in the air. We'll have to see. As Justin said, our 110, 85, 63 numbers are hard and fast. It's what it is. So we'll have to see where that is. That's that can change. That's not changing weekly or daily. That could be changing hourly right now. And then it'll stop, and then it'll get going again in January.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.